It's not there yet. All right, now it is.
Oh, I didn't say the whole thing. It's fine.
No. Go ahead. Do it. I said,
Okay.
hang on a
I
minute.
call this meeting to order at 3:30 p.m. Woo! Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Vice President session of this year's Officer Training Conference. Thank you so much for coming, and a huge congratulations on being elected. My name is Snow, and I'll be opening today's session. So, to start off, we have to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and raise your right hand. Or, sorry, put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Key Club pledge and raise your right hand. I pledge on my honor to uphold the objects of Key Club International, to build my home, school, and community, to serve my nation and world, and to combat all forces which tend to undermine these institutions. Okay, so that kind of concludes the opening session. I'm going to pass the floor over to our presenters if they'd like to start presenting, and then they can start with introductions.
Oops, taking a second. Okay, there you go. Hi, everyone. Right now, we are at the Division 28 Officer Training Conference. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on getting elected, and this is the Vice President's presentation. I'm Miguel Torres.
And I'm Ida Solano.
And we will get started. So first, here is a little bit of an introduction. Like I said before, I'm Miguel. I was the Spring Valley High School 2019 to 2020 class rep, also the Spring Valley High School 2020 to 2021 vice president, Division 28 South 2020 to 2021 spirit coordinator, and currently I am the Spring Valley High School 2021 to 2022 president. So kind of been all over the place. I'm also a boba addict. I am highly addicted. It's a problem, both for my health and for my wallet. So someone stop me. I doubt any of you can. Anyways, my favorite superhero is Spider-Man, as you can see. I like basketball and I play guitar. I wish I could sing. I unfortunately sound like a dying cat when I sing, so I don't do it too often, but it's something that I like. And my favorite artists are Nicki and Luke Chang. So if you listen to any of those artists, you are simply superior.
And so this is my brief introduction about myself. My name is Ida Solano once again, if you guys don't already know me. And I was Valley's Vice President for 2022 2021's term year. Some interesting facts about me are my favorite show is Grey's Anatomy. My favorite song artist is Lil Peep. If you listen to Lil Peep, you're superior. You got good taste in music. That's all I got to say. I like crystals. I have an obsession with them. My favorite ones are Rose Quartz and Black Tournament. And lastly, I have a cat named Salem that I love very, very much. She's my best friend. So yeah. For this slide, it's a basic overview we'll be talking about during this presentation. It's simply a table of contents. So basically we'll be talking about VP fills in for president, delegating tasks to the officer board, annual and monthly duties, create and maintain officer relations, organize and lead service projects, educating and recruiting members, maintain relations all levels of the club, take and lead providing energy of the club besides president and SSA, of course, and lastly, oversees the committee system. I recommend you guys to take notes during the presentation, so at the end, you guys will be prepared.
Yep, and if you ever need us to stay on a slide for a little bit longer, please just say so in the chat and we will do that.
So first things first, we have general duties. As a VP, your main role is to be the right-hand man of your president. These are just basic general duties of VP, meaning you probably know this, but in case, here they are. Although presidents lead general meetings, you need to understand as a VP, your voice should be second most prominent. Meaning what you say and do highly reflects what your club is about. That means you need to lead by example, like during general meetings, using your social skills. You have to encourage others to engage and actively participate. This will encourage others to participate more in meetings and have more members likely to join. This could be done by chatting with them in the chat or asking them, hey, how do you feel? Or like, did you like this event? Things like that. Next, we have leading officer meetings. It's not really leading, but more like encouraging participation from other board members. Always help the president with creating agendas. Being a president, it's a lot of work, and they most likely forget like topics that need to be covered during meetings. So you're the person that reminds them. This also allows you to form your own opinions and ideas that contribute during meetings. This can also allow your board members to form ideas of their own while using your ideas as inspiration. Next up, we have assisting and filling other officers when needed. You also need to assist and fill in other officers when they're in need of help or they have an off day. Presidents do that as well. They have a big job responsibility. So as a VP, you got to do that. Do understand everyone has off days and they'll need a break. So, and that's completely okay. Do not stress about that. Last but not least, we have in this slide, advocating for the club. Advertising and recruiting members. Pretty much, you're an advertiser. So you're advertising for Key Club whenever. So always do your best to attract loyal members to your club. So yeah.
And you guys need to be able to answer the dreaded question. I hate this question, but I've recently found a pretty good answer to that. And it is, what is Key Club? People oftentimes not know what the club's about, so you need to answer it in a very informational and engaging way. So moving on with general duties, you need to attend and host committee meetings at least monthly. And we'll be talking more about committees, so if you don't know what those are, don't even worry about it, don't stress. But attend and host committee meetings at least monthly. Alongside that, you need to collect information from the committees to submit to the secretary in order for them to accurately represent the club in the MRF, the monthly report form. You also need to fill out the ERF, or also known as the event request form. And this is mainly for like larger scale events, things like that. If you're working with just your club alone, or if you're working with another club in your school, then you don't necessarily need an event request form. This is mainly for when you want to work with other key clubs within the division, region, district, so on and so forth. When you fill out an ERF, you want to give an ample amount of time for all of the people to give their green light on the event. So if it's a division event, you should probably aim for submitting it around like 3 weeks in advance to the planned date of the event, so that you give everyone an ample amount of time to say, yes, this event is approved, it's good. And if it's a district event, give even more time, because there are even more people who are involved when it comes to approving those types of events. Next up, you have to communicate with your Kiwanis. And trust me when I say this, your Kiwanis love hearing from you. They absolutely love hearing from Key Clubbers. Now, you may not know your Kiwanis very well. You may not even know their names. And honestly, it's kind of sad, but it's room for improvement. You should be able to ask for your Kiwanis from your advisor, ask who they are, ask for their contact information, and get in touch with them. If they don't respond right away, follow up, because a lot of them are on the older side and they're not ignoring you. It's just sometimes they will be, they won't see your message. So make sure to follow up with them, because you need to ensure that they do see your message. And I guarantee that when they do, they will respond. You are not bothering them. Next up, we have communicate with school organizations. And school organizations can vary from different clubs to your student council / ASB, to your faculty, your principal, etc. You just want to be heavily involved with your school. You want Key Club to be synonymous with everyone in your school, and you want everyone to know, hey, Key Club's one of the biggest things within the school, because they're involved with everything. They were involved with our homecoming. They helped student council direct that. They were involved with my Japanese club. They know the principal on a first name basis, whatever. You know, you shouldn't know your principal on a first name basis. You should call them Mr. or Mrs. Be respectful, but get to know those types of things and build those types of bonds within your own school. Going beyond that, you should also connect with your division. Connecting with your division is probably one of the scariest steps, but it's one of the most important ones for club growth. Now, LTGs and your RA and your DLT and everything, just all those random terms and acronyms and events, they could seem really scary. They could seem overwhelming. Trust me, I know. I was the freshman who went to a division council meeting one day, not knowing anything, and I was so lost. I was so nervous and so scared, but eventually I got to know the people in my division. I got to know what everything meant. I got to know my division as a whole, and now I couldn't be any more glad because my club is heavily involved in my division, and it's really, really good for your club. Now, moving on, we have delegating tasks. Now, when we delegate tasks, the most important thing to keep in mind is you should not be scared to give tasks. And I know that me personally, I had to overcome this sort of feeling because I always had this feeling whenever I asked my officers to do something, I was like, man, I shouldn't be asking them to do this. Maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be working harder so that they don't have to do this. But trust me, your officers want to do the work. They signed up for this position. They were elected for this position. So they are willing and able people. So you need to give them the work that they want. Make sure not to overwork yourself and make sure not to overwork your president as well. You need to keep a balance between work within the board. On the flip side, though, you can't give busy work. And what I mean by busy work is work that doesn't lead to anywhere. It's work that is useless, it's meaningless, it just is to keep the officers busy. And that should never be the case when you assign and delegate tasks. There's always meaningful work to be done, even if it's just as simple as, hey, could you guys come to next meeting prepared with some ideas for service events, for fundraising ideas, simple ideas to improve member engagement, things like that. You should always have meaningful work for your clubs to do. And going alongside that, you should also try to make sure that everything that you do does have a meaning. So if you plan out a social, if you plan out a project, see it all the way through. Sometimes you won't be able to due to restrictions, due to just circumstances. You have to go with that, walk with it, accept it. But most of the time, whenever you can, try to always follow through with the plans that you plan out. You should also set clear expectations. Communicate what you expect from your board. And this kind of goes with what we've been doing so far. So far in this presentation, a lot of the things have been pretty self-explanatory, but we just wanted to get it out there to present this information to you so that you guys know, hey, it was communicated to me by these OTC presenters. I probably don't even remember their names, but I remember what they said. They said to do this, to do that. And we want that to be in your head throughout this coming term. So whether it's having your officers be punctual in all meetings, having them be actively participating, having them have welcoming attitudes. There you go, welcoming attitudes towards your members. You just need to set clear expectations on what you want from them. And don't expect and not do. You need to do and reflect what you expect from your officers. You need to go attend these service events, go be active in meetings, go participate in your icebreakers, things like that, because you want your officers to do those things. So you need to do it so that your officers can reflect off of you. A car doesn't move on its own. You can fill it up with as much gas as you want. You could do this, you could do that, but until you actually turn on the car, take it out of park and start pushing on the gas a little bit, the car won't move. It'll just stay there. You gotta just give it a little gas and then it'll start rolling. Moving on with delegating tasks, you need to make sure that officers get their duties done. And officers do have specific duties, so just make sure that they get those specified duties done. Whether that is the secretaries with the monthly report form, treasurers with the MUC, editors with slides, articles, visuals, things like that. Going into more detail about those examples, if you don't know what the MRF is the monthly report form. It's filled out by the secretary. It pretty much documents all the activities done within the month, whether that was the service events you attended, the number of service hours you gained as a club, your fundraising projects, the funds you raised, things like that. It just all gets documented into the MRF and it's submitted monthly, hence the name monthly report form. Next up, we have the MUC, also known as the Membership Update Center. This is usually filled out by either the president, vice president, secretary, or treasurer, although I usually like it being the treasurer because the other three positions usually have a lot on their plate as it is. And pretty much it just documents the dues paid members of the year. So whoever is dues paid within your club gets documented. They get put down on this list along with their graduation year, their email, contact information, things like that. And then you also have articles and visuals, which are usually, and I say usually, I'll get back to that later, submitted by the editor. Now, articles are any quotes from the club at all, whether it's like your editor asking them a question and then members, officers, advisors responding, or just whatever the officers, members, or advisors say in general. Those would be articles that we submit. Visuals would be pictures and videos from any club event, whether that would be a service event, a social, general meetings, whatever. And so the reason why I said it's usually submitted by the editor is because anyone can actually submit articles and visuals, and I cannot stress that enough. Anyone can submit articles and visuals. It's not just the editor's job. Usually the editor will be the one compiling them all, but anyone can submit articles and visuals to the division or to their respective editors for their club. And it is criteria for the member recognition program, which if you need more information on, can be found on the CNH Key Club website and their Instagram as well.
So for training, make sure all officers know their duties and how to contribute to the board. Notify with important resources like manuals and CyberKey. Engage with other clubs and interact with them with the same position as you have. Just talk to each other, share ideas. Not only this will benefit yourself, but like it will benefit them as well. Try not to gatekeep anything since we're all in Key Club, basically in different schools. Help each other out, basically. Next is you should learn about each other's duties. You should be able to fill in for other officers that will be absent. One idea to combat this is to host a one-day general training, which your board will have simple, brief presentations about your own position. This way, everyone learns about everyone's position, so you guys can cover for one another when the day comes. Everyone will have off days. I cannot stress that enough. And that's okay. Do not stress yourself about it. Take breaks. Last but not least, keep in contact with your IPs. These are your previous officers. They have experience with your position and have a lot of knowledge regarding it. Don't assume you're a bother because I promise you, you're not. When I first started, I was a freshman, and trust me, I did not know what I was doing. And I just asked for help when needed. They're extremely helpful. And yeah, ask questions. Don't be scared. Talk to your advisors as well if you're not comfortable. But yeah, work together as a team.
Yeah, and a little more about that one-day training type thing. You might be thinking, oh, well, I know all the officer roles and I know their duties and things like that, so that's not really needed. But it is really helpful because what you can do for those meetings is not necessarily go over the specific duties, but the specifics on the duties. So let's say you talk to your editor and then your editor has a presentation on which programs that they use to make their graphics, to make their meetings, things like that. Or you talk to your secretary and they just give everyone a brief rundown on what's on the MRF so that they actually have a good idea. Things like that, just getting familiar with officer roles and positions and the specifics about them. And also with contacting your IPs, really don't be afraid with it, especially because you guys are vice presidents. A lot of times your IPs are the current presidents, so you should be close with them anyways. You should be able to communicate with them and ask them questions, do this and do that. Going beyond that, I know that I'm still in contact with my president from 2 years ago who already graduated, and she's always down to help and ask any questions and even send service events for our club to do. She really supports the club even though she's already gone. So make sure you keep in contact with them because they are really helpful. Next up, we have officer relations, and I will slow things down a little bit because we are going pretty fast. But when it comes to officer relations, you need to remember that they are officers, they are your board, but they're also people. They should be your friends. They should not just be your peers. They should not just be your workmates. You should really make an effort to truly get to know them as friends, truly get to know them as people, because there's so many benefits for that. If you get to know them as people, if you get to know them and you become friends, then you become more willing to say, hey, could you do this? Could you do that? And on their side, they become much more willing to do the work that you delegate to them and do it really well. They want to make you proud, and you want to give them enough work so that they can do what they do and they can shine within the club. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of ice to break, but think about Captain America. Steve Rogers was stuck in that ice for 70 years. My guy was just asleep in there. And then all of a sudden, they broke him out and he became a modern day superhero. So remember that we want to break the ice and we want our board to be Captain America. We also need to remember that it is one group, one board, one group. There you go. You may have friends in Key Club, and that's to be expected. You may have joined together as friends. You may have similar passions for the club, and you may want to impact the club just as much as each other. So you may be on the board with some of your friends. That does not mean that you can cling on to them, stick to them 24/7, and not necessarily interact with the other members of the board. You need it to be one board, one group. Think of it like a cup. Let's say your board is a cup and the members are a bunch of beans. Sure, all of those board members are in the cup. Sure, they're all on the board, but they're all separate. They're all their own individuals. Now, let's say you fill up the board with a cup of water and you guys act as if you are a cup of water. That cup of water is now one body that acts together. You want it to be like a cup of water, not a cup of beans. So members can tell when officers have strong bonds and when they don't. You want them to think, oh, these officers are really friends. They are really good with each other. They interact really well with each other. They really know each other on a personal level. And you don't want them to think, I don't know if these officers even know each other's names, if I'm being honest. You want them to think that you guys have a strong bond because you do want to have a strong bond. Moving on, we have role assignments. Each role has their specific duties, as we mentioned before, like how the SAA will make the cheers, how the treasurer will work with the advisor to manage club funds, how the secretary will work behind the scenes, maybe with all the documentation. But sometimes it's fun to just mix and match, kind of like socks. Maybe you should, instead of assigning tasks based off of role, you should assign them based off of interest, based off of skill, things like that, which is another reason why you should get to know your board, to know what they're interested in, to know what they're skilled at. Maybe your SAA, maybe your historian is really good at making slides. So maybe you can assign the weekly slides to them one day. And maybe, just maybe, your secretary is secretly a battle rapper, so maybe you can assign them with the cheers for RTC to help the SAA out. Now, moving on, we have inactive officers. And I'm not going to say I guarantee, because I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm almost 100% sure that you will run into an inactive officer sometime within your term. When you do, you need to make sure that you check up on them, that you stay consistent with them, that you follow up on them, and you actually have a conversation. You have your expectations that you already established, like we said before, and you need to stay consistent with them. You need to enforce those expectations. But when you do go up to talk to these inactive officers, you need to come from a place of care and not a place of aggression. When you come to talk to these officers, you need to be ready to figure out the why. And what I mean by that is there's a reason why these officers are inactive. They're not inactive for no reason. There is a reason. So when you go to have a conversation with them, be ready to figure out the why, to work with them through it, and to kind of just be there for them, be their ally, be their supporter. Don't come ready to bash on them, to belittle them, to just insult them the whole time, because that's just going to make things worse. So come from a place of care and not a place of aggression. Next up, we have member relations. And members are the club. That is something that you need to remember. Members are the club. You need to think about the inverted pyramid that from Key Club International. At the bottom, with the smallest group, is international. Then it goes district, division, club board, members. And members are at the top, and they're the biggest group because The club is made up of members. Without members, there would be no Key Club. So we prioritize them over everything. Members are the club. And keep in mind, all of you guys are members. So make sure you keep that in mind. When you do approach members, you need to be friendly and approachable. Make the first move. Make sure that you talk to them first, because I guarantee you that they are more scared than you are. You may be intimidated. You may be kind of scared. You may be saying, hey, I don't know these people. I'm kind of scared that I'm going to look stupid in front of them. But don't be, because I guarantee you that these members are 10 times more scared of you than you are of them. So when you interact with them, you need to actually interact and engage and be tame. What you don't want to do is you don't want to scream, how do you feel? Or start cheering in front of their face, because that's just going to intimidate them. They're either going to get scared and flinch or run the other way. You don't want that to happen. You want to be tame. You want to actually have a conversation, but be energetic, be exciting. You also should remember their name. I cannot stress that enough. Remembering someone's name is so important to member relations, because when that member sees that you remember their name, they'll be like, wow, I talked to the vice president of this club for maybe 5 seconds, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they still remember my name. That means that they are these thoughtful people, and maybe I want to interact with them more. Maybe I should stay in this club and see what this club is really about. And you want them to feel like that. Our district governor, Daniel Min, had a really good analogy for this, and it was super random at the time. But I really like it, stuck with me. So I'm just gonna say it. Imagine a starfish, right? You're holding a starfish and you just chuck it against the wall. What do you think is gonna happen? You just throw it. It's probably gonna fall. It's probably gonna fall down, flop down, and it's just not gonna do anything. Now think instead, if you put that starfish right up against the wall and you just place it there gently, that starfish is probably going to stick with all of its might, all of its energy, just like how the members, if you put them in, if you sort of engage with them and you ease them into the club, then they will stick to the club and be loyal to the club and come to all of the meetings like that starfish clinging onto the wall like his life depends on it. Members should also feel comfortable with the officer board. They will feel nervous and uncomfortable solely because of your position. It might not be because of anything that you do, you say at all. It could just be because you are the vice president, and that's to be understood. You need to think about when you were a member, you probably felt the same way. But you need to make sure that you bridge that gap and you close it up as fast as possible. Good ways to do that would be to get class reps, to get committees, things like that. Those types of positions where members can actually take a step towards becoming an officer. That way, those members feel more comfortable interacting with the board, and members can interact with those people as a first step to actually interacting to the officer board themselves. Think of it like dye in water. If you put a drop of dye in some water, it's just going to sit there. But if you mix it up a little bit and you just mix and mix, it'll submerge it'll all dissolve, I guess. I don't know the word. I'm trying to look for it. It'll become one. There you go. And then it'll all just be the same thing, just like how your board should be one group. You should also allow your members to bring the spirit. Now, there is a little phrase in Key Club called Key Club Attitude Check, and if you know it, good. If you don't, I don't blame you, because it was a weird year. It's been a weird year this year. But this phrase is basically used for keeping the club in check. It's an attitude check. Whenever the members are a little too loud, whenever they're having a little too many side conversations during the meeting, you can use it and they respond, we love Key Club. And then you get back to whatever the meeting was about. So you should use it because it's a really, really helpful tool, but use it sparingly. Allow your members to interact, to cheer, to have fun, because at the end of the day, that is going to be one of the things that makes them stay in the club, that makes them want to come to the meetings again and again and again. So make sure that you do keep your club in check, but you encourage and you allow your members to bring the spirit.
So continue on with member relations. Create a safe environment for members' input. Make sure their opinions are heard and valid and welcome also. Make sure to get them involved. You want them engaged. This will help bring a bigger passion for the club in the future. It also can teach them skills becoming an officer if they're interested in joining the future board later on. Be their supporter. Get to know their names. This is really important. It will create a special bond with them. I know for me, when the president remembered my name, I felt so special. I was like, oh my gosh, she remembered my name. And that's why I kept joining back and back again over and over again. So yeah, get to know their names. This will help create a special bond, and most likely they will come back. It's important to reflect what you want to see. Ask members' input. Ask them what they want. Okay, yeah, you can make key club stuff, service events, things, but like ask them what they want to see, like what interests they have all together. This can help bring everyone together. Trust me, this is a good way to bring everyone together. Make sure be their supporter. Get to know your members outside of Key Club. Be their fan. Root for them. This can be like if you know someone who's a good basketball player, join their game, go to their basketball game, or you know someone that's in dance, go to their dance show. That's amazing. Always be there for them, not just for Key Club. Be there for your different clubs or school or classes, anything like that. Just be there for them. Be there for your members, basically. Yeah.
Moving on, we have division relations, and this is probably the most intimidating one to get into, like I said, but usually the first step into division relations is with your LTG. Now, your LTGs may seem scary at first, again, just solely because of their position, but trust me, they are such friendly people. I've had the privilege of getting to know my LTG pretty well, and I've interacted with her counterparts slightly, and they all seem like such amazing people. So I can speak for all of you when I say that your guys' LTGs are such friendly people who are always willing to help. So you need to communicate events with them, communicate ideas with them that your club might have. Stay on their good side. Like I said, they're friendly, they're always willing to help. You should always be able to approach them. But that doesn't mean that you can slack off and turn in your work really late. They really appreciate when your work is turned in on time, so make sure you do that. You should also get to know the DLT, whether it's their executive assistant, their secretary, their Kiwanis family relations coordinator. They have really weird and complicated names, but any one of them, you should get to know any and all of them, because oftentimes they have a lot of answers. They have a lot of answers to questions that you might have about the division, about the region, about the district, about international. They really know a lot. So you should really get to know them. You should also, the Kiwanis coordinator sounds kind of cool. I don't know about that. Moving on, you should also get to know your region advisor, which is the lovely Miss Santi. Now, she may seem a little bit intimidating, but trust me when I say that you should just get to know her because it is extremely worth it. I know that when I was a freshman, when I was like even beginning of my sophomore year, I was a little intimidated by Miss Santi just because of her position as well. But throughout this past term, I've gotten to know her and really interact with her a little bit more. Even if it's not on a really deep level, I've gotten to interact with her in a pretty friendly way, and it's been a privilege. It's been an extreme privilege, actually. So don't be afraid to reach out because she is great. Also, you should work with other schools within your division. Now, oftentimes the schools in your division are the schools within your proximity, within your area. So working with them is usually the most convenient thing. There you go. I couldn't think of the word there for a second. So you should work with them, whether it's in socials, whether it's in fundraisers, projects, things like that. Get to know the people in there and work with other schools in your division. Even get to know vice presidents from other schools in your division. That's really helpful because oftentimes some people might have answers to questions that you have, and you can just communicate. You build bonds that way. Be proud of your division. You should be proud to be a sea monkey, to be proud to be a panda, to be a moon, to be a phoenix. Be proud to be whatever you are from whatever division you're from. Be proud of your division. And lastly, you should lead your division. Aim to host a division event or two. Aim to host an event with clubs in your division and with the division as a whole. Be active in DCMs. Go to your division council meetings ready to talk, ready to participate, ready to make it fun, and make your club known throughout your division.
Okay, for this slide, we'll be talking about advisors and Kiwanis. I don't know if it's just me, but Key Club advisors especially are the sweetest persons ever. They always dedicate their time and money, especially their money. They're rich. I'm kidding, but like and energy to Key Club. Always appreciate them. Get to know them on a personal level. This can be for an advisor for your club, or a Miss Auntie, or a district advisor as well. Communication is key to develop a close bond. So a personal experience what my club did was we surprised our key club advisor, Mr. Campo, with a note saying we were thankful for him. And it was so sweet to see his reaction. He cried, and it was so nice. But like overall, make sure you thank them, especially when this pandemic is going on, which makes things extra hard. Reminder, they are people as well. So they're more willing to help out if you ask. Next is Kiwanis. Kiwanis as well. They love key covers. The most friendly people you will ever meet. Build a strong bond with them. Note, if they don't respond, just have a follow up with them. Some are old, might not use technology very well. Just be patient. Please be patient with them. A good thing is to invite them to your club meetings and events to have a better understanding ground with each other. Also, go to their meetings as well. They're extremely nice and want to meet you. This can help with future events later on. Some ideas is to host an SLP, which stands for a Service Leadership Program Takeover. It's basically is basically a Key Club Kiwanis meeting, and it hosts it themselves. Another one you should guys go to is Kiwanis One Day, which is when all Kiwanis organizations meet up for a project slash event. And lastly, get to know your Kiwanis advisor. This is really good. Trust me. They are the connection between you and sponsoring Kiwanis. They can help out with your club and host things like fundraisers and much more.
Going a little bit into getting to know your Kiwanis, you might not know exactly how to do that. Like, how do I get to know my Kiwanis advisor? How do I do this? How do I do that? You should contact your club advisor because they should have the information for your Kiwanis advisor, like their name, their contact information, things like that. From there, contact them, have a conversation, do this, do that, ask to go to their meetings. If they say yes, then attend because they're really fun. Trust me. I go to my Kiwanis meetings whenever I can, and they're super funny. They crack jokes all the time. They say the Pledge of Allegiance just like we did, but they're all unmuted, and it's all through a Google Meet, so it's super out of sync, and it's just like, what are you even saying anymore? But they're also really informational, and it's really good to go to your Kiwanis meetings because, again, you do build those bonds, and Key Club is all about building bonds.
So next is education. It's important to educate your members. Educating your members should be the focus. Educating leads to a better understanding and more dedication to your members. This can help with future events being more fun when you already know the standard Key Club knowledge. Note, you don't want to overwhelm the members. Don't make it feel like a classroom. Just basically have fun with it. Like, people go to Key Club for a good time and like have a stress-free zone from school, because school be stressing out too many people. Trust me. Um, people go, yeah. Basically, ways to make learning fun is to create Kahoots, Quizlets, simple, friendly games, competitions for Key Club 101 knowledge. For example, you can use this when educating others about RTC. Mention how it was to you and how amazing the experience was. And then you can lead to the conversation and talk about what RTC is about and how your participation slash money is going to PTP. Then you can talk about what PTP is and how it's one of our preferred charities. Then so on. You can talk about where preferred charities are. Basically use those like smooth transitions along. Lastly, learning makes the club less scary, meaning that the more you learn about the club, the less scared you'll be getting involved with it. Especially when members first join, they are very intimidated and scared. You want them to feel welcome and a safe environment.
And education really should be emphasized well, throughout the whole year, but it should really, really be emphasized in the beginning of the year, because I know that a lot of times in the beginning of the year, we have like fall rally, we have RTC, we have so many different events that occur so close to the beginning of the school year. And a lot of times members won't go solely because they have no idea what these events are. I know when I was a freshman, I didn't go to RTC because I didn't really understand what RTC was. I was like, what is a region training conference? What is our region? I don't know. And I just didn't have the drive to really find out because my club didn't make the effort to really do that. And then I was lucky enough to know next year, because next year, the following year, people made more of an effort to educate the members, and more members were excited to go, more members were willing to go, things like that. So really, education makes it a lot easier to say, I want to get involved within this club. Now going on, we have recruitment. I touched on this a little bit before, but when you're recruiting members, again, do not scream at everyone. Be loud, be exciting, be energetic, but don't come off as aggressive. Again, make the first move. Some people might not know about Key Club. A lot of people are probably not going to know about Key Club, but it's your job to educate them, to say, hey, this is what Key Club is, this is what we do. Do you want to join? Do you want to come to the first meeting? And then it can go from there. A really good way to recruit members is to join your club rush. And I don't know if every school calls it a club rush. They probably don't, but it's pretty much whenever your school organizes a day for organizations like sports, clubs, things like that, to just recruit members, to recruit students and get students more involved within the school. So when you join your club rush, you don't just want to be there. You want to be there. You want to be able to be seen. You want to be the first club seen by the members, whether you're in the front or you're all the way in the back. You need to be standing out. You need to be unique. You need to come off as this club that isn't like any other club in this whole room. You need to get the members' thoughts going like, oh, what is this club? They seem kind of weird, but I kind of want to join for some reason because it's nothing like these other clubs. All these other clubs seem kind of boring, but this club is so energetic, so welcoming. I kind of want to see what they're about. Let me go to their first meeting. And then from there, just keep the ball rolling, keep it going, keep it fun, keep it entertaining, keep it educational, and keep it productive, things like that. You should also host a Bring a Friend Day. And what this is when you have members bring a non-member friend to a general meeting. Pretty much when you do this, you want to host a very, very fun meeting that day, because keep in mind, these non-members are probably going to have zero idea what you're talking about with the meeting. Sure, your members might know. Your members might be educated and they might have the knowledge to know what you're talking about. But these non-members won't. And that lack of knowledge might scare them away. So instead of having a very, very informational meeting, I'm not saying don't have an informational meeting, but make it fun on top of the information. Host a really, really fun meeting. Host your best icebreaker. Do this, do that. Play some fun, safe key, exciting music. Just bring the energy that day. So make sure that those non-members attending will want to come back and maybe become members. And remember that recruitment does last the whole year. It does not end when dues are due. You can recruit members throughout the whole year. They can pay their dues whenever, so long as someone is willing to go to Green Valley, which for a lot of the clubs is really, really far. But as long as someone is willing to go, then recruitment will last the whole year. You can recruit members from April to really like April, and that's that. Going in depth about committees, we've mentioned committees quite a bit throughout this presentation, and you guys might be wondering, what are committees? So committees are basically groups where members can get more involved and sort of take on more responsibility within the club. Typically, these committees have one focus, so like Kiwanis Relations, graphics, inter-club committees, social committees, things like that. They will typically focus on one sort of area within the club, and you can have as many committees as you want. Like I know my club, we have 2 committees. I think Clark Key Club, which is another school in my division has 2 committees as well. My club has an interclub and social committee. My interclub committee focuses on interacting with other schools and contacting other organizations, things like that, while my social committee solely focuses on our own school and our own club itself. So when you have these committees, you need to be sure to host committee meetings. Just like how you host officer meetings, you host general meetings, you need to host these committee meetings. And they could be monthly, they could be bi-weekly, whatever. Just make sure they are consistent. Because when they're consistent, it's easy for your members to say, oh, it's the second Wednesday of the month, it's 3 p.m., I have a social committee meeting to go to right now. And then they can say that, they can keep it in their calendar, they can keep it as a mental note, and then they'll come. And it just makes it a lot more convenient for you, for the members, for everyone. During these committee meetings, during these committee meetings, you need to assign tasks and discuss topics. You need to assign tasks for these people within the committee so that when the committee meeting ends, they have something to do in between meetings. They can come with new information, with new work that's done, things like that. And you need to discuss topics that are relevant to your club. So let's say you're hosting a social with another club. Maybe your interclub committee can talk about icebreakers you could play, or this or that, and just get into a little more detail that you guys can also discuss at your officer meetings. Bringing up officers into committees, you can assign committees to different officers. You can have other officers look over different committees, and it could be an interest-based thing, it could be a position-based thing. I know Clark Key Club, again, the other school in my division, has a graphics committee, which is headed, I think, by their editor, Emily. And they pretty much just assist her in the duties that she needs to fulfill. So you can do something like that where it is position-based. It could be an interest-based thing. Again, like if your secretary is a battle rapper, they can go over, I don't know, a spirit committee if you have a spirit committee. And you could just host meetings with your officers to plan out the committee meetings. I know I host meetings with my class reps because I put my reps in charge of the committees and I just oversee what they do. So as long as they're doing a good job, I don't necessarily have to worry too much about the committees. I just plan out the meetings with them. They host the meetings and I'm just there to observe. You can definitely do something like that. When you do have committees, make sure to keep the meetings short, because committees are I've said that so much, it's sounding weird in my mouth. Okay, committees are a low position responsibility. They shouldn't be required to have high responsibility when they join the committee. So meetings should be only like 30 minutes to maybe an hour long, depending on how often they occur. Like my interclub committee and my social committee switch off. 1 week it'll be interclub, another week it'll be social, another week it'll be interclub again. So it's bi-weekly for both of them. So usually the meetings are around an hour long. And yeah, committees are a low responsibility position. So you need to make sure that you don't require too much of them. Obviously, they can commit however much they want into the club. They can get however much responsibility as they want. You want that to be an option for them, but you don't want to require it out of them.
So going on to recognition and rewards, we have the Outstanding Distinguished District Award for Vice President. In order to get this reward, you must make an e-portfolio first and submit it to the district. And if you don't know how to make an e-portfolio, then you can go to the CNH Key Club Instagram, and they have videos educating about and how to do it. So don't worry. There's also a rubric that is based on, which is on CNH CyberKey, so you can look into that as well. The difference between outstanding and distinguished is that distinguished, you fill out more of the rubric than the outstanding. So this reward is good for recognizing hardworking vice presidents. I highly recommend you guys do this later on. Try to set goals for yourself for your term as a VP to see what you want to accomplish at the end of your term.
And if you want to apply for outstanding or distinguished, I would say you can start whenever. Start like even right now, right after this, right after whatever. Just start somewhere. Get the ball rolling, start. I know I didn't apply when I was a vice president, and then I overlooked all of the requirements and everything, and then I realized, whoa, if I applied, if I just put in my e-portfolio, if I just created this, I would have gotten distinguished vice president. And I kind of disappointed my LTG because of that. So don't
And
disappoint
your
me.
region advisor.
And my region advisor. I'm very, very sorry, Miss Santee. So don't disappoint those lovely, lovely people, because I'm sure if you apply, you are going to get it, because it's really not that hard. So just apply, start it off, start somewhere, start formatting it, and then just work on it as the year progresses.
And you can't win if you don't apply.
Yep, you cannot win if you do not apply, because they will not know who you are. So make sure you put in that application.
So for this slide, this goes out to my VPSs out there. Keep in mind there are 4 types of service. This can help you like your future service events, what you want to plan, which type of service project you want to plan. The first type of service is direct service, which is a type of service which you interact with the person or thing you are impacting. Example, this can be serving food to the homeless. Second is indirect. Indirect is which you are not in the presence of person or thing, but serving an agency slash organization that impacts the person or thing. Example, hosting a canned food drive to donate to homeless shelters. And third is advocacy. Advocacy is when you raise awareness for an issue. Example, teaching people about homeless and how to combat it. For this one, I didn't know until like a few months ago, and I know for my club we partner up with Love Michael. Love Michael is a non-profit organization that advocates young adults with autism, and so basically our members earn service hours by educating about autism and how and spreading awareness about it. And fourth, philanthropy. Philanthropy is a type of service in which you raise money to donate to impact a person or thing. Example, hosting a fundraiser to support homeless shelters. So keep in mind these are the 4. These are extremely helpful which service project you want to plan later in the future. So this slide is about planning. This can contribute to like service projects, events, or socials in general. So the first step you want to do is plan, of course. Research projects and confirm logistic details with advisors and coordinators. So it's important to have a plan set up. Make sure you talk to your board and advisors about it to make sure if it's good or not, especially your advisors. I always go to my advisor, Mr. Campbell. He has good advice to tell me if it's good or not. Make sure for me personally, have a backup plan just in case if things don't run smoothly. Because during your term, there are going to be times where like there's going to be failures and mistakes. So make sure you have a backup plan just in case. Next is delegating. Assign officers and coordinators with specific tasks to help the event run smoothly. Oh, again, I can't stress this enough. Do not put all the pressure yourself. You're not the only one. You have your board there to help you. Work together as a team. Do not stay up late doing kick up stuff. Trust me, that's never good. Third is action. Have all your plans detailed and finalized that you are ready to begin the service project. Have a strong advertisement strategy. For this one, you want your members to be engaged and interact with whatever you're planning. You want to hype up the members basically. So have a good advertisement strategy. This can be like posting on your Key Club Instagram, or like putting posters around the school, or putting them in morning announcements if your school does that. So yeah, basically have the members hyped up. You want them to be excited. Fourth is reflecting. Once completed, recognize all those for participating in an event, reflect over the success of the event, and consider areas for improvement. So for this one, always thank the members for joining and participating. For me, I know most likely they will want to come back. They're like, oh my God, thank you, you know. And there's always going to be mistakes and failures along the way. Make sure you use that as a learning experience. Your first beginning, okay? You're obviously going to make mistakes, and that's completely fine. Just look for areas for improvement and make sure the next time you do an event, things can run more smoothly. So for advice, this is fellow advice for you guys. Always manage your time well, or try to have good time management skills. I do not have that. I suggest you guys to have a schedule set up of yourself for your daily life. I know being in school is stressful and staying up late and so many health problems, but try to manage your time well. Don't be stressed. Please don't be stressed. And second, always take notes. I do be clumsy sometimes, and I forget a lot of things. So it's important to take notes about things whenever you're in like general meetings or you're in like Kiwanis meetings. Just take notes in general. Third, be organized. Once again, this contributes like uh, I'm very clumsy and I forget a lot of things. Be organized, because there's gonna be some times where like you lose something and that's something is really important, like a document, and then you're in trouble. So trust me, be organized. Have your drive organized. Fourth, be dedicated to this position and have passion. Oh, okay. So I've seen other clubs with like officers not necessarily doing their job correctly, and that reflects sort of bad on their club. So try to have, you got this position for a reason. So have fun with it. Be dedicated. Don't make your other members do all the work. It's basically your other board members. Um, Fifth, communicate your board with any struggles. This can be within Key Club or your personal problems. I know my advisors are really welcoming about like mental health problems and things like that. So just talk to your board. But keep drama outside of Key Club, please, because that's always bad. Also, keep relationships out of it. It can be like, oh no, it could be like a couple, they're dating, and it creates all this chaos within Key Club and during the meetings, and like everyone's picking sides. Keep that. Hey, basically, keep drama out. We don't need that, please. um, Always have your notifications on. This can be your emails. I know for a fact my club, we mostly communicate through Gmail, so I always have your notifications on, whatever devices or whatever you guys use. Learn to be confident. Oh, okay. First starting, you might not be confident. This is a big leadership position you're taking over, and things might get hectic at times. But like, trust me, you'll learn to be confident at times. I was a freshman. I got this position. I was not confident at all. But like overall, you learn to be confident, and your board will help you. They'll push you. Um, Lastly, enjoy this position because you deserve it. Once again, the board chose you for a reason. You should feel special. Um, just enjoy it. Make new memories with your board. And so yeah.
Also, with drama, like you will be surprised. I've seen so much drama in Key Club. Sometimes I'm like, is this Key Club or is this like a reality TV show? Because this is kind of out of pocket. So make sure you try to keep drama to a minimum in the club. Keep it lighthearted, keep it fun, and just a place, like she said, to relax, like Ida said. And I cannot stress enough how much being organized is important. Like when I was in middle school, you know those like agendas that the school would give you, or you had to like get your permission, your parents' signature and things like that. I would get F's on those. I would not do them. And honestly, I didn't really need to. That's why I didn't do it. But as a vice president, there is an extreme need to be organized, to be neat, to set reminders out for yourself, and just to plan. So you need to make sure that you are organized, that everything that you have is known to you. It's, you know where it is, you know where to go, and you have reminders for yourself, because you are going to have a lot of meetings and sometimes you're going to forget. That's bound to happen. So make sure that you set those precautions for yourself.
And I think, yeah, this is going to be the last educational slide for this VP presentation. Have fun with this position. This is a job, a responsibility. It shouldn't feel like work. Don't make yourself feel miserable. Just make new memories, memories during events or socials, but try to remember them as fun events and not stressful ones. I know planning service events can be stressful at times, or events or socials, things like that. It kind of gets hectic. But if you're stressed, it's completely fine. It's normal. Trust me. Take breaks. Take breaks. Cannot stress you enough. Put your mental health first. Prioritize your mental health first. Taking breaks will help. I promise you. I've taken many breaks throughout my term, and it made me feel overall better. Just come back with Key Club spirit, because that's what we love. Um, remember you ran for a reason. Remember that reason. I still use my reason throughout my term, and it helped a lot, push me forward, because there were times where I wasn't feeling good. Like I didn't really have sometimes key club spirit. I'm like, I'm feeling a little down, depressed, school, hectic. But like, just remember your board is there for a reason. Communicate them with personal problems if you're open to that. Building bonds. Ooh, you want to cry your inductions and at your banquet. Not literally, but like if you do, that's great. Do it. It obviously meant the club meant something to you personally. I know my banquet is coming up. Ooh, and I can't wait to see people cry. I don't know if I'm gonna cry. I'm not really an emotional person, but building bonds is great. Like I would never met these people in Key Club if it wasn't for Key Club. Yeah. It brought me so many new experiences, and I have a lot of new friends, and I'm more social. Who's that? Like freshie me, I had no friends. Okay, it was a complete shock to me, basically. And lastly, the work you do is to improve everyone's experience, even yours. So building bonds can create you being more open out there. Make sure if when improving everyone's experience, you don't have inside your head like you don't feel sad or empty or depressed, things like that. You want to be happy because if you're not happy, the board will know, or like the members will know. They will sense an atmosphere during the meetings. So yeah.
And taking breaks when you're stressed is so important because as the vice president, you kind of set the vibe. You kind of set the tone among your board, among your club. The president is the one who is about business. They are the one who really gets into delegating who does what's the club gonna do, what direction are we gonna go in. But then while you're doing that, you're also saying, hey guys, you want to talk about Avatar. Like I know my board, we were having my board and my DLT actually have had multiple conversations at like 3 a.m. And honestly, they were amazing. And I know personally, like in the beginning of the school year, I was so stressed. I was so, I don't know, it was so bad. Like I was questioning the meaning of life. And it was just, wow, that was very stressful. That was a stressful time. And I didn't really reach out to anyone. Even though I had my board, even though I had my DLT, even though I had my friends, I didn't reach out to anyone. I didn't really take a break until the time came where I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. It's been too long. And when I came back with that Key Club spirit. I came back with the vibes. I came back ready to do whatever, to like face on whatever it is that school threw at me, that Key Club threw at me, that anything threw at me. So make sure that when you are stressed, you take your breaks, because I promise you, you will come back 10 times better. Oh, so here is just a lot of our contact information, our emails, phone numbers, Instagrams. My top contact is my Key Club email. My bottom is my personal. There's my phone number and my Instagram, and then Ida.
And so yeah, that's my email, phone number, Instagram. If you ever want to ask questions. So yeah.
Yes, I will go back right now. I'll just stay on this slide a little bit more so that you guys can get the contact information down, and then I will go back to the 4 types of service. Are there any other slides that you want that you guys want us to go back to? We do have time. We did get through that really fast. We did present really fast, so if you didn't go through everything, just let us know. So I'll stay here for a little bit more. Take a picture if you want to, and then you can write it down. And then we'll go back. 3, 2, 1. There you go, right there. And y'all should be familiar with this indirect service because this has been the vibe for this whole term due to COVID. But yeah. And then are there any other questions, comments, concerns at all?
You guys need to take this opportunity to ask questions because you have a very vast role that you play in your clubs.
Yeah. So this position, what you're gonna learn, there's not much responsibility to this position. You don't have any specific duties. Well, you do, but it's not much compared to everything else. This position is pretty much what you make of it. So you need to think and really be creative because this is a really, really creative position that you can go through. And then let me know when you guys are done with this slide, and then we'll get to our last slide. Okay, so we'll get going unless someone else needs to. So again, any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to ask. And also, if you were paying attention to the background of these slides, there was one non-Marvel character. Y'all can name him or her. I'm not giving you hints. You have my respect. We don't have a prize, but you have my respect. Not Superman, unfortunately. Close. But yeah, I think that's about it from us. Do you have anything else, Ida, at all?
Nope, all good.
Are there any things you wished you would have learned during your terms to help you be better vice presidents? Do you have an answer to this, Ida?
Ooh, for me personally, I wish I have done I wish I learned more getting contact with other organizations because I was VPS, so it would help getting the advisors' input on it. So yeah.
I'll get to that question, Jana, because I have personal experience in that. But yes, so pretty much the thing about being vice president, like I said, is that you don't have responsibility, like too much responsibility. You don't have too many annual duties, too many monthly duties. Pretty much the only specific thing that you have is help the president, lead general meetings, host committee meetings. That's it. But it is whatever you do. It pretty much is whatever you make of it. And the club pretty much goes off of your own vibe. So being vice president, even if you are a more introverted person, even if you are not the type of person to really say, "Ooh, I'm gonna put myself out here. I'm gonna get to know all my members." You know, you need to at least bring the energy and contribute because the club will pick up on your vibe and they will say, "Oh, this person is really energetic during meetings. Maybe I should become more involved." And even if we are VPs, can we still apply to be part of the DLT? It depends on your division, Jana. So yes, you can apply because I know you're part of Division 28 South. You specifically can apply to be a part of the DLT because a position, spirit coordinator, allows you to have your position while being vice president. I've held that position this past year. As vice president, I've held both positions. It was an amazing experience. I highly recommend that you apply. If you're thinking about it, if you have any questions, you can contact me after this meet. And then, yeah, but just if you want to do it, go for it because DLT was an amazing experience for me as well. And I loved my DLT. That's why I was, if you went to the DCM, I was low key kind of crying, but y'all didn't catch that. So yeah.
The difference, and let me help him explain why yes or no. It depends on the position. Coordinators, you can hold another officer position. The other positions you cannot. So that's because it was a spirit coordinator. So executive assistant, secretary, those type of positions, no, you cannot hold two positions.
Yes. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's also teams, so you can be a part of a spirit team, a graphics team, a media team, you can also hold positions while being involved in those positions. Yes. Any other questions? That was a really good question for both of you guys. Yes, the non-Marvel character was Batman. We kind of low-key ran out of characters to use, so we were like, we're just gonna use Batman. So, yeah, I respect you. I don't know how to say your name. I don't want to butcher your name, but just know I respect you for that. So, yes.
Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording.